Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. In the past 6 months, MoYu has had 3 major releases. All 3 of these have 3 different models, and it can range from $10 to over $40. So, what should you get? Well, I'm going to look at the top of each, compare them so you know which one is best for you. Now, for all of them, this is one of the first times I prefer the maglev over the springs, just because the amount of compression limits the spring movements of this. I don't know if there's something with a different spring that's used or if I'm just noticing it now. So all 3 of these are going to be the ball core. The RS3 Super used to have gold, now it's a teal. So you can see with the YS3m and the WRM version 9. I've already set these up fairly well to my liking, which is tightening the tensions. I tightened the version 9 just a little bit more because I was getting a couple corner twists. But before we get into solves, let's get into just the weight and size. We're going to be super accurate with this. We have the RS3 Super measuring at 55.8 millimeters. We have the RS3 at 54.9 and the WRM version 9, 54.4. So if you like that slightly larger size, well, the Super is more the one for you, while the WRM is on the smaller size. They're very close. If you look this, if I line it up and you were just to look at it, you'd barely be able to see a difference there. However, in the hands, there's a huge difference in my opinion, but that's also something you can just get used to. I've got used to using 57mm puzzles as well as 50mm puzzles. So it just takes some getting used to. Let's look at the weight. The RS3 Super, 87.4 grams. The YS3m, 84.4. And the WRM, 76.8. So along with size, the weight follows with lightest, medium, heaviest. However, these two are very close in weight. And I like a little bit heftier puzzle. I feel like when it gets too light, it just feels kind of papery. This one doesn't feel that papery, though. I feel like this is sort of pushing it. It's when things get under 70 grams that I feel like there's sort of a bigger issue, at least for me. They all have the exact same tensioning system on them with a screw, maglev, and the elasticity that you can adjust of the maglev. Those all have 9 settings. There's the screws for all of them. And then all 3 of these, oddly enough, do not have magnet adjustment systems. Not a single one of them do. I like to adjust those settings, but maybe they found that it's just going to be easier to make and people maybe don't mind at all. I'm fairly happy with the magnets. The RS3 Super feels the lightest. And if I was to rate the magnetic strength, it feels light, mid, most. I feel just a little bit of that there. I can definitely feel a click here. And that feels very clicky. They all have that ball core. So let's talk about the auto align. And once you lubricate it, depending on the tensions, you barely see anything. It was right about here, and I still have to kind of touch it to get that to go. Not really much happening there. A little bit there. So the auto line seems to show itself when you have pretty much no lubrication in there, which can make the puzzle be faster overall. Some lubrication can help, but for the most part, lubrication tends to slow things down a little bit. So as long as my terminology is correct, that is static force when something's at rest, and it needs to overcome that a little bit to auto line. And this could be different as you're doing a solve, and it lines itself up. With that said, and now let's talk about the texture. This comes in matte plastic. I have not seen a UV coated one yet. However, it might be out there and it might be out there in the future. But this one, the YS3, comes with a matte finish and UV coated for that ball core edition. And the WRM, as far as what I can see, only comes in the UV coated for the ball core. Now prices can change, but for what they are right at the moment, which can be actually cheaper if you use discount code SCR at SpeedCube Shop, we have, for the highest, most expensive edition, about $20 for the RS3 Super. For the YS3, if you get the frosted or matte finish, that's going to be about $26. If you get the UV coating, that's $37. And for the WRM with UV coating, that is $43. Okay, so I'm going to do a series of solves just to get the feeling of it again, see how they turn out, see what the averages are, and let you know my opinion. I'm going to be going just to see how the averages are, how the cube feels, how the turning is, and also, if I do recommend this one, do I recommend it being twice as much as this one? So stay tuned for some solves, and at the very end, I'll go through my conclusion. And we're back. So I just did all the solves, and I'm going to talk about how they felt in just a second, but let's look at the averages. On the RS3 Super, my average was 12.56. On the YS3m, my average was 12.56. And the WRM, my average was 12.55. Consistent. My best, that's amazing. My best time here was 10.81 on the RS3 Super. It was 10.12 on the YS3m and 10.86 on the WRM. So as far as times, well, obviously the WRM will give you 1/100th of a second faster averages, but actually the Super felt the most stable. I really enjoyed the feeling of it. They actually all feel very, very similar because it's similar plastics, similar even design in a way. The magnets, in my opinion, are still too light. My special edition RS3 that I had SpeedCube Shop make had extra edge magnets to make it stronger, so I might do that. YS3m felt really, really nice and smooth. The size was still a little bit large for my liking. The size is 55, which is about what most people would be okay with, but it was very nice, very smooth, and everything just flowed very well. I felt like there was really minimal issues where I had any lockups. And when I did, it was mainly on my last layer, which I was just inaccurate with. WRM, I love the size. I really like the bubbliness of it. It feels a lot more rounded than the other ones, and almost a little bit too much space here. It is very flexible. As far as performance, it performs great. A little more airy, a little more control is needed when holding it. So if you are a light turning cuber, this would probably be a lot more your style because of how light you can turn. I don't actually turn that light. So if I was to use all three, I might go with the RS3m just because it's a little more hefty like the Super, but with the flexibility that's closer to a more modern puzzle and less like the RS3 Super. So if you're looking for which one will actually give you the best time, all three are fine. If you have $40 to spend, you could get one WRM You could get a YS3m with some lubrication. I like Nebula. That's a good middle of the road one. Or you can get 2 RS3 Supers. Choice is yours. I also am a big fan of the UV coating. So if they ever come out with a UV coated one of this, I'll be picking it up for sure. I didn't expect those times to be that close. You know, I did 12 solves each. That was pretty incredible. So definitely not planned at all. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know which one of these you are most interested in. And let me know which one, if you do have one, which one you have and why you like it. Thank you very much again. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and keep following SpeedCube Review for more news and reviews.